Whenever I think about this movie Krull that we're about to speak of, it makes me want donuts.
Welcome to Book Club for Movies, everybody, for the week of, for the day of, for the year?
May.
What is even?
It's May 11th today, so it's
May 11th. Good gosh.
May 11th be with you. I've heard that before.
2020. And I am Ryan Miller, and he is Matt Amberg, and we are absolutely probably still stuck indoors. You go outside at all?
I try not to.
What's it like?
Right now it's raining outside, and indoors it's,
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I got excited by that when you said that. I was like, oh,
something different than just
weather?
sun? Yeah. But we had weather. We had sun this weekend, so it's fine.
This is Book Club for Movies, where we watch one movie a week and then sometimes take a week off without telling anybody and then come back and talk about that movie a week after we've seen it minimum. This week, it's Krull. Notice the R in there. I don't have any desire to do Krull.
It's not a great
putting
one.
That out there.
Not
okay,
a
just
fan.
saying that.
Yeah, I don't love it.
Lots of desire to do Krull, in fact, and we'll get to why. But before, maybe you have a synopsis if this movie can be synopsized.
I don't know. There's a lot going on here. You can't synopsize epic tales like this, but we'll give it a shot. Okay, we got Krull coming at you 2 hours and 1 minute, written by Stanford Sherman, which with a name like that, you definitely know he's done work.
That'd be good.
Directed by, he actually wrote the movie Any Which Way But Loose, I think, which was
did he?
Which was Dirty Clint Eastwood and an orangutan.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
I always get it confused with any other movie.
Yeah, that's right. And written by Stanford Sherman, directed by Peter Yates, starring Ken Marshall, Lisette Anthony, Freddie Jones, Francesca Annis, Robbie Coltrane, and Liam Neeson. Here is your book club for movie synopsis for Krull. I love donuts.
Okay.
After the beast's army of slayers have decimated the planet of...
What planet? What is it called?
After the beast's army of slayers have decimated the planet Krull's kingdom, its defenses, and kidnapped Princess Lissa for his own cryptic needs, Prince Colwyn sets out to find the mystical glaive, a legendary weapon needed to destroy the beast and to find a way into the perpetually teleporting Black Tower where Princess Lissa is being held captive. Also, there's a Cyclops.
An animatronic. Dude, I know we're just getting into this already. The special effects guy, very proud of his work on this. In fact, I should know his name. And should be. For sure.
Out of everything that you can potentially criticize about this movie, one of the few things that I think kind of stands to me the test of time is actually some of the effects.
Nick Maley, if that's how you say his name.
That's how
several
you say
quotes out there. That's how I say it. But yeah, my favorite is how he talks about the actual creature there at the end, the beast, I believe it's called.
The beast, yeah.
It says, first self-contained animatronic suit providing not only facial movement, but also lung, heart, and body fluid movement, all without a single external cable.
Yeah.
Which actually still does seem impressive, but man.
It's super cool.
Like it.
Fun. Yeah.
Anyway, so
also
before
the Cyclops.
Also the Cyclops, not a single external cable from what I could see.
Yeah, he's got an external cable if you know what I'm talking about.
Okay. So to go back a little bit, and I mentioned some of this last week, the reason we're doing this movie is because I got it into my head, again, who knows what day or week it is, to go through my comic collection, a box that I maybe haven't actually dug into in 20 years or so. So I probably should have put this up on 0 Hit Points for all that Instagram is doing nowadays, but it's on my own Instagram. You can find I would take pictures of kind of the greatest hits in there, stuff really that meant something to me. So
yeah, nothing
super interesting probably to most. But
I don't know. You got some good stuff in there.
It was fun either way. But one of those comics was and I still to this day have no idea where I got it. I want to say I got a grab bag at some point, and I don't know from where. Funny story about grab bags. Nowadays, they come with a bunch of the comics that I actually have bagged and boarded.
Sure.
I took the kids to Free Comic Book Day not too long ago, and they're like, here, grab bag. And I was like, oh, these are fun. Give them $1. And you get a bunch of comics that aren't worth anything. Just all sorts that I actually had in my collection. I'm like, man, this isn't good.
There are some interesting bags out there, though, now that you can do. Like a couple guys, they do like $30 or $50 mystery boxes, and you've got like a really high chance to get graded books. Like, and then
really?
It's the same thing. It's not necessarily you're going to get anything like outrageous, but people definitely have gotten some stuff that's worth more than they're paying.
Huh.
Yeah.
An interesting concept.
I have not done that yet. I those weird me out. I like it. I actually do it. The record store downtown when we would go to the record store, they totally have like packages upon packages of like they've taken a brown wrapping paper and or even maybe they're just old shopping bags or something, but they totally wrap up like a huge stack of records, and it's like $10, and here this is all going to be electro, this is all going to be this, or this is just going to be something. And every freaking time I end up with some classical music like from some composer I've never heard of, doing music from a guy
Vivaldi, like what
who
even
the hell is that? Vivaldi, more like it.
Yeah, I mean, that kind of stuff is fun is if you just like the thing.
Yeah,
like a comics grab bag is fun because you like comics and like,
totally.
oh, look at this issue of Krull. Exactly, right?
Yeah.
So I was posting this up there on Instagram, and I put that up there, and friend of the show, Pedal, who has a real name, Adam. He's Canadian.
Okay? They pronounce things differently there.
Yeah, with Led Zeppelin for anagram. No, what is it? It's rearrange the letters and it's to the thing and you put it, but it's not the.
Yeah, it's called a thing that you do that.
And he literally busted out his own copy of the exact same comic. And I'm like, how in the world? I was like, have you ever seen the movie? He's like, nope.
What?
I was like, me neither. Yeah, none of us had seen the movie, but we had the comic. He also has the second issue, which I don't have, I believe.
So the guys who have the comics never
Yes.
seen it, but the guy who's seen
Yes.
it a billion times didn't even know there was a comic. Great.
So
I bet the
it
comic is good.
came to be. Oh man, I also haven't read the comic. It. I should do that. But it turned into an official request, essentially, through official channels, Facebook, I think.
They were official.
And we had to do the film. So that's what brought us to this point, in so many words.
And now, here's the thing. I'm just going to quickly interrupt you.
Okay, no.
Because that was the most interesting part of the movie. So we can just move to the end of the show. Do you have anything else you want to talk about?
What I mean,
I know.
This is one of those movies that over time has garnered a cult following, right? Like
Definitely.
You'll hear about all the failures of it everywhere. I did my Wikipedia and IMDb research this time around, so I can share some of those. But
I'm looking forward to your dumb trivia for this one.
Dumb trivia of the week.
Yeah.
It was almost hard to find. That's going to be a story in it and of itself. But that's this movie. It's a cult movie, something that's garnered a following a little bit after the fact, didn't perform well, and I don't necessarily wish I had been there when it came out because I got plenty out of it this time around, honestly. And I still love reading about, like, I love Siskel and Ebert. I love Siskel and Ebert. So I always look up their review, and it was understandably scathing, along with a few others. But what I found super interesting, especially in the Wikipedia article, completely devoid of Star Wars references.
Oh, sure.
Because the second I saw this thing, I'm like, okay, what's 1983? All right, yeah, Star Wars was in 77, and Jedi was actually the same year in 83.
Yeah.
You know, they cranked out those sequels once that hit. And I know there's plenty of stories out there of every Star Wars not being a critical success in one way or another, but Star Wars had hit by this point, you know.
Definitely.
Absolutely, yeah. And the fact that I can read an entire Wikipedia about it and nobody at any point is like, well, because Star Wars existed, not that this movie wouldn't have been made if Star Wars didn't exist, it certainly wouldn't have got the budget that it did, you know?
Oh, that's interesting. I don't know that I agree with that because at the time, if you go and kind of look at some of the sword and sorcery and fantasy elements that this movie particularly pulls out, that was real popular in the late 70s and early 80s. You had lots of movies that were doing things like that. And so I don't know that Star Wars was the reasoning for the budget. It couldn't have hurt by any means. Yeah. But this holds more connective tissue to me to something like and you can say what you want, but it comes closer to you get the Conans and the Dungeon Masters and Krull the Conqueror, stuff like that, where they definitely they up the ante with some of the more laser beams and stuff. But everything outside of, if you really like think about this movie, outside of kind of the weird laser guns and maybe the look of the Slayers, and even that I kind of would, I don't know, maybe everything else really does fit more of the swashbuckling sword and sorcery thing as opposed to like the adventure-y pulpy action of Star Wars. Like I know that this is a movie where you can tell by how he's dressed, how Prince Colwyn, Ken Marshall, is dressed. Totally got a pull from some of those like 30s, 40s, 50s pirate movies. Like he's dressed like a freaking pirate. He looks like freaking Errol Flynn, for crying out loud.
Oh yeah, no, and that's all over the Wikipedia. Like they definitely don't shy away from saying, yeah. They call it a sci-fi swashbuckler at some point. I think did you say that already?
I said swashbuckler because makes me think of, again, it's the Errol Flynn thing. There's a look to him.
Yeah, dude, he's swinging from a chandelier within the first. Okay, so the movie is Colwyn comes to marry Lissa, sorry. Her actress's name. Yeah. Which, okay, I won't get ahead of myself, but that sounds like a trivia to me.
It could be.
Comes to marry her, has to battle a bunch, I think, even just to get there. Oh, yeah, because the Dark Fortress, which is this big spaceship full of Slayers, has landed and appears in a different spot every morning, but has also in some way announced their intentions to attack or start a war or something, or maybe already has or something like that. I don't know. But Colwyn gets there, marries her, but then the Slayers do attack the wedding party, and it's within that first, 5-10 minutes that, yeah, he's swinging from a chandelier, man. They're fighting with swords.
He's fighting with swords, yeah.
It's definitely a swashbuckler. I guess the Star Wars, I think, comes from, and it would make a lot of sense if they had this idea maybe before Star Wars hit and then Star Wars hit, and they were like, well, because there's literally laser swords in the thing.
Sure.
The first shot in the film is the Dark Fortress in space, just this huge monolith of a spaceship that takes up the entire screen slowly as it flies through the sky.
It is very, in that respect, there's very much a call to New Hope, with the Star Destroyer coming across
at the very least, yeah. It's got an old dude who I called him Oldie Juan the whole time,
yeah.
But I know.
Fun fact about that guy, Freddie Jones, I think is who you're thinking of. And I have to double check it. Let me check real quick.
While you're doing that, so the Slayers come, they attack the wedding party, kill most people, and leave Colwyn for dead. And then the old dude shows up and is like, "I will lead you, and you're the chosen one. You are now king," etc., etc.
Yeah. And that's Freddie Jones, and that guy, by the way, fun again. Here's the fun fact. It's fun for me. Trivia: Freddie Jones. I knew him right away, and I couldn't figure out why. Like, I hadn't seen the movie in forever, and I'm like, why do I recognize this guy? And it hit me real fast that because Denis Villeneuve is remaking Dune, I've been thinking about Dune a lot. He's freaking Thufir Hawat in David Lynch's Dune movies.
Oh, is he?
Or Dune movies. So I was like, oh, that's cool. And then who else is in this movie? Oh, Lizette Anthony. Here's another piece. You know what else she was in? Yeah.
I do not.
Dracula, Dead and Loving It.
Oh.
And as soon as you look at her and you think about her playing Mina Harker, you're like, yeah, that is her from Dracula Dead and Loving It.
It's funny, the two actors that you're naming are neither of the ones that I saw and was like, where do I know this guy from? The one that got me was
Robbie Coltrane?
No, I knew him.
Liam Neeson.
Liam Neeson also knew easily enough. And funnily, they like all of these ones I recognized the most, and knew where they were from, come from this band of So the old dude takes Colwyn and they go on a trip. The first trip is to get the glaive, but basically along the way they pick up more members of their party that become the party that's going to attack the Dark Fortress eventually, right? So that's kind of what this movie is in a nutshell, right?
Yeah.
Or in a synopsis, you might say. I don't know why I always synopsize the movie again after you synopsize.
Well, because you're adding more information. I don't mention any of the idiots that he hangs out with.
Okay. But no, the dude that I saw, and I looked him up, but then I looked up the wrong guy in IMDb, so it still took me half the movie to figure out where he was from. Was the guy that I wrote down his name? Ergo. It was Ergo. That was Ergo.
He's the shapeshifter, right?
Yeah, the magician type thing.
The goober.
Yes, he's not the actual wizard in the film because there's a greater wizard in the film, but he is this like shape-shifting comic relief essentially.
Yeah.
And I was like, where the heck do I know this guy from? Looked it up, got it wrong. Finally halfway through, I'm like, no, that can't be it because I know this guy from somewhere. I know him from his bit part in Willy Wonka where he was the jerk teacher.
Wow.
For like a second. Yeah.
Nice pull.
It's been at least a year since I've seen it. So
and
plenty of people to recognize in this thing.
I haven't seen either of the Wonka, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory movies in 1,000 years. Since definitely the remake since it came out because I didn't.
Yeah, not
it.
even the Tim Burton ones here. Yeah, I'm talking about the original.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. So okay. So kind of picking this up where we were like story wise.
Picking up where we were.
Yeah. So Corwin is tasked to go find this glaive. He gets picked up like the older magey guy, Old Yuan shows up.
Yep.
They run into the cadre of they're all prisoners or ex-prisoners. They're all.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Oh, in fact, the third dude in there I didn't mention yet was you won't recognize the name. I mean, you might, but Alan Armstrong, you would recognize facially.
Possibly.
I think he's doing Downton Abbey nowadays. Actually,
oh, maybe that's where he's from.
Yeah. Anyways,
lots of classic
continue.
people
I'm
in
sorry.
this movie. No, well, so
Classic.
we meet the ex-prisoners and they have their little back and forth discussion about, well, we should probably beat you and take your money, and then Prince Corwin, no, why don't we help each other? Oh, let's do that. Great.
He is pretty upbeat the whole
movie. Entire movie. So I was talking to Beth about this the entire freaking movie. That okay, number one, like the start of the movie, he is brought in to marry Lissa, and her father does not want her to marry him. He's not like, I'm gonna kill the guy. He's just like, he's not the right guy, and she's like, but I love him. So he's
a warrior or something.
Yes,
like he's
a fighter, right? So he starts off rolling in like, nobody likes me. All right, smile on my face. Then all this murder happens in front of him. His father gets killed. He holds on to his father, and at no point is there any real breakdown. He's just like, oh no, father, I've got to go and get the glaive. Okay, let's go.
Dude, he's sad for like a second when the old guy shows up and he's like in tears. He's like, leave me be. And he's like, you're a king now. And then the next scene, they're going to get the glaive and he's like, don't worry, I'll handle it.
Right.
Takes up, you're like, wow.
The major failing in this movie is absolutely the dialogue here and some of the direction in terms of, you are on a quest to save the woman you love, you just married, who was taken by a monster who's got these slayer creatures that when you kill them, a weird worm thing falls out of their head.
Yeah, like directly into the ground too.
Yeah, they just and as people die around you, you're still smiling and like, well, we've gotten this far. Let's keep going. You know, at least Frodo was like, I can't do this. I hate this. And Sam was like, I hate it too, but we've got to. He's like, I don't really mind this. It's kind of fun.
He's pretty upbeat for the rest of the movie. Yeah.
The whole, it's crazy. Like, and I do I'm gonna, we're spoiling the movie. We always do.
Yes, by the way.
I want to skip way ahead.
We're gonna spoil Krull.
I want to skip way ahead to one bit towards the very end when he's confronting the beast. And we'll get to all the other, we can talk about more stuff, but it sticks with this, like, he's in the Black Tower and the beast is behind this thing and he's using the glaive to try and break this wall down. And every time he throws it, it's like It's like you're watching a Big Red commercial and the person just caught the Frisbee and they throw it back and they've got the biggest grin.
Double mint.
Yeah, and they're like, yeah. He's just like, I've got it. Throw it. Yeah. Oh, it's not broken. Do it again. Yeah. Now I'm going to fight the beast. Oh, yeah. It's like he's half a step away from a freaking Kool-Aid commercial.
I hadn't thought of it that way, but you're absolutely right.
Krull.
But it's fine, man. I mean,
it is. It's
the
totally
thing.
worth watching. Like, I enjoyed
no, it's totally worth it.
Every moment of this movie I liked watching.
But this is also the thing. For all of the what you say are failings of this movie, yes, there are moments where it's a failing. None of those things for me is absolutely a failure for the entire film. In fact, I would say they all have really great moments. And yes,
totally,
some of it, especially for the dialogue, is going to be great pulpy moments. But honestly, the effects, I freaking loved. Like, yes, they're dated, but
they hold up for the movie that they're in.
Well, they definitely hold up for the movie, but also even now, and a lot of this we said for Flash Gordon when we watched it, because honestly, it was like, yeah, what if we make this B movie, but we throw a lot of money at it? You know, this thing, $26 million, I believe, was what the budget ended up being. It wasn't what it got approved for initially, but all of the Dark Fortress, honestly, like, I loved like the interiors of that.
Great design.
Beautiful. Yeah, great design. Even the exteriors. I guess the thing was, most of it was not miniatures, but models that were still up to 20 feet tall. I think some of them were. Yeah,
well, and the tower itself, they I know they built it they chunked it together. It wasn't one giant thing because they break
modular.
it. Yeah, because they break it at the end and it just kind of bleh, and it like. Yeah,
it blah, blah, blah. But it looks great.
It does, and I mean, and I think the other thing that this movie does is great work with the set design, because the movie is a mass majority of set work. There's not a ton of external shooting that was in the wild. A lot of it was on sound stages. The entire.
I know the swamp was a huge.
The swamp, the castle,
right?
The web, the
right.
tower.
Okay, I guess you're right. Yeah, you know, it's funny. I didn't think about it. It's melded pretty well, actually, because a lot of it still is done outdoors. You know, they are
see a
filming
lot of long
in
shots.
Italy. Yeah, and there's lots of landscaping, and they're, you know, I guess more when they get the horses and stuff like that. But yeah, it's funny. I didn't think about that. You're right.
They're not horses.
Oh, sorry.
They are.
Want me to call them Clydesdales or fire mares?
Fire mares, thank you.
Okay. My wife had a good. We'll get there, I guess. What are the fire mares?
The fire mares come when they have talked to the widow of the web, and they know where the tower is going to arise, and they have to find the fire mares to get there in time.
So I watched this with my wife and my daughter.
Oh yeah,
who both also loved it. Yeah,
totally rad, awesome, super.
But one of the weirdest moments was when the fire mares showed up, and my. This wasn't the first time I heard this question, but my daughter says, "What's going on?" And my wife responds, "Oh, they're fire mares. They travel 1,000 leagues a day."
Well, that answers it.
To which she responds, "How is that possible?" And I'm like, "What is happening? Like,
do you not see the laser beam guys and the Cyclops?"
Like, it's not possible. I don't.
And the entire swamp that eats people.
Well, that's believable. I don't know. It looked a lot like the swamp from Crystal Skull. Oh, did we do our Indiana Jones thing yet? We didn't.
No.
Right.
We've never done the trilogy of Indiana Jones films.
The sets are great. You're not wrong.
And you know, the swamp set in particular, it's easily, I think, the most memorable moment of the film.
It's pretty great. Like I love the look of the quicksand that they did. I guess it's a bunch of cork chips, but still,
it looked awesome. It's
great.
And I love so during this sequence when they're going through this swamp filled with quicksand, the one of those terrific moments occurs where they've got I can't remember what they call him, the Emerald Mage or whatever, the other super old.
I was just looking that up. Yeah, it is the Emerald something. When I find it, I'll interrupt you.
So the super old wizard who is the one that can definitely help them. He's guiding them. He's going to provide information. he ends up getting killed and replaced by a mimic. And the moment that mimic shows up was
a changeling. I'm sorry.
A changeling. Yes, I'm sorry. Thank you. Wow, I could have gotten sued. But it's so great because the old man is blind and he's constantly got his eyes closed and he's walking with this young boy who's like his apprentice. And
the Emerald Seer.
Told
you I'd interrupt you.
And he without anybody noticing, the changeling comes and replaces him. And the only like reasoning, like the way we find out is him opening his eyes really slowly and having the black sclera contacts in and just pitch black eyes totally. And that's followed up by the moment of the Cyclops finding the body who another fantastic, love this detail that the Cyclopses are all, they can see the future, but only their moment of their death.
Oh, I actually didn't catch that.
So, and the thing is, they know it, but they also are driven to remain in those places so that they can fulfill the destiny, but they don't have to. And I guess for Cyclopses, they make it kind of clear that it's really looked down upon to not die when you're supposed to.
Wow, this really makes a lot more sense now, the end of the movie.
And that's why he stays in the swamp. Or he stays not in the swamp. He stays in where just before they meet the fire mares, I think.
Yes.
And he stays
before they leave. I think he's there to capture the fire mares.
Right. He helps them capture the fire mares, and then he stays because that's why he has to stay. Yeah, and then he shows up again at the end where it's oh well, you know what? I needed to save the world, and my life is.
See, that's cool. Actually, I didn't catch that when I was taking my notes. I was like, okay, he kind of stays behind for no reason, just so he can show up to Deus Ex Machina kind of at the, like, it seemed really contrived. I actually didn't get the lore part of that.
Yeah.
So that makes a lot more sense.
It's a cool little thing. And that's I think some of the fun in the movie is some of the background lore that they give.
The Cyclops is cool. He's
great.
This stoic figure throughout. I mean, yeah, the eye thing, but he's a cool character.
Your one weird eye
that blinks perfectly normally if you don't move.
I love. I also that was a fun. That was a fun effect thing that they did where he that guy couldn't really see. Like he only had one little vision. He had like one little spot he could see out of from one eye because of the way the single eye fit over his head. Yeah. So yeah. I know that he had trouble with walking and fighting, and I have to imagine there's some other dangers going on with that kind of stuff. I bet.
There is one take that they could have redone where he shakes hands with, I think it might be Alan Armstrong, I'm not positive, but they almost completely miss each other because the Cyclops cannot see the hand coming at him, but they kept it in. It's fine. Lots of good sight gags, if you will.
Sure.
In this movie,
some unintentional.
The seer is blind except for when he's replaced with a changeling, and then he has black eyes. The Cyclops, now I know, has the foresight thing. So yeah,
I also loved going back a little, just a step. There's the bit with the Widow of the Web, and that is also number one. You get that amazing stop motion. Always give me stop motion things. Love it. Looked great.
Land of the Lost.
This is I was Ray Harryhausen, Sinbad stuff.
Always what I think.
I also really love that character story that they were in love, that she killed the child that they had together, her and the old man, and that she is living in the heart of the web, and being at the heart of the web is the only way the spider. Like she has the sands of time, which are essentially her life, and that's all that keeps the spider away from her and anybody else. And then when she has to, like, that's again, what a really cool bit of mythology that they put into that.
Yeah, I'm totally into it. And it all fits together. I mean, the movie has its fair share of awkward edits. It does.
Definitely.
Like, that to me might actually be the low point. Like putting all these puzzle pieces together. I think story-wise, it's fine. I mean, also it's a little bit immune to that because it is that it's Lord of the Rings. Like at some point, Tolkien figured out he could put anything he want. Like, who cares about pacing at that point? Type thing. Like in this, it's not exactly the same. But in this type of story, you get a lot of that. Like then they met this guy, then they met this guy, then they met this guy, and okay, we should probably wrap things up at this point. It's an easy thing to write somewhat, but
sure.
It comes together in a way that's totally satisfying to me. Yeah, that moment with the spider is kind of oddly touching. As we get towards the end of the film, and we're going to spoil this twice over, as people start to die, again, the Cyclops stays behind because that's where he has to die. I now know, but he comes back to save them so they could actually enter the Black Fortress is what's happening.
And then I want to point out that not only does he, so this movie does a couple things with these characters that I also really love. For a movie that is PG, that is kind of an epic fantasy type thing, half the cast gets murdered towards the end. And not all of them in like a kind way. Some of them die pretty awfully, especially the freaking Cyclops, who...
Oh, man, yeah!
Like...
I forgot.
What an awful way to go. He comes back as they're climbing up, like, onto this... You kind of have to think of the Black Tower as this, like, imagine a pitch black piece of, like, onyx rock that's just craggly, and that's what they're climbing up. And it has these weird, like, doors that kind of open and close. They go up and down. They don't, it's not like a standard door. It's, like, more of a Star Trek-y thing.
Yeah, it's weird.
And I love that he rolls in and they're all pinned down because the others have the high ground, Anakin. He rolls up with his sweet trident that he's been chucking at Slayers left and right.
Yeah, that's right.
And he
has a storied antagonistic history with the Slayers, by the way.
That's
Cyclops do.
They don't like each other. He stands up and gets shot point blank and like just wipes it off. Like, nope, not doing that. Cruises up, murders one of the Slayers, and then holds open the door, like the walls. Like, think about again, and Star Wars,
Star Trek door. Yes,
think about the trash compactor, except it succeeds when it comes to killing one of them, and it's the Cyclops. And
just a slow, getting, that's where the Cyclops dies. And this is after Robbie Coltrane, which, by the way, Hagrid.
Yep.
That's
he was a nun on the run.
He got shot. I feel like we're missing one other death, but they're dropping like flies.
And
at this
Neeson
point.
Gets killed almost right
That's
after.
That's what it was.
He gets killed right after they get into right after the Cyclops dies. He gets
Neeson's
shot.
Traveling days are over.
Yeah.
He
was I think it's funny that they also note that Liam Neeson in the movie is like a polygamist. He's got wives all over the place.
He's got a lady in every town.
Yeah.
One of them helps them out when they're in a my wife was pretty confused by that moment. Like, just all of a sudden they're in a village, I guess is what it is. Right. There's lots of other people. We're like, where do all these other people come from? By the way, my note for the Cyclops when he died just says Cyclops sheesh. He gets squished.
He does.
It's real bad.
So they get there, and there's another really great Indiana Jones-esque moment for the, not our hero so much, but it is for the cadre of people that are left, where they end up in this hallway that has these spikes coming out of the wall, like slowly but surely piercing them. And they've got to kind of try to wiggle around them. Another great little moment there.
We do lose one other of the... What was I used the prisoners? That's what they were. Yeah, that's right.
I think they're
Alan Armstrong's prisoners. We lose another one of them, and Alan Armstrong and is it the kid? No, the kid's off with Ergo.
The kid's off with Ergo.
Shapeshifter dude who is
he turns
duck
into
at this point. No, turns into a lion.
He turns into a tiger.
Tiger.
And then,
for
which
TVVB.
I love that moment too. He turns into a tiger, and all of these Slayers are cruising at him with their laser beam guns, and then they start walking backwards. They're like, "Whoa, we can't shoot a tiger." Shoot the tiger, you idiot.
A tiger that's posturing mostly too, if you think about it.
Right, he's just roaring at them and kind of like, I'm pretty.
Should have turned into a Tiger King. Which one of you is Carol Baskin? Sorry.
I am never going to financially recover from this.
I'm out of notes. So
well, and that leads to the so this ends up leading to the final battle between Colwyn and the Beast, and I this is another one of those where maybe the most 80s aspect of this movie is the fight with the Beast and how they shot the Beast.
Sure. Yeah.
And that you never really get you don't ever see the Beast like you see any of the other creatures. There's always a filter. There's always like an angled filter too. It's never really like a straight. Like, I don't know, how do you explain that?
No, yeah, it's warped in some way. And this is at the end where you kind of do get to see the Beast. And by the way, I believe the Beast is straight up on the movie poster. So if you want a real good look at it, just check that out. But this comes after the entire movie where we see the Beast. We talked about how much we love the inside of the Dark Fortress. A lot of that is the Beast because he has kind of shape-shifting powers and stuff like that. Like he becomes an evil Colwyn at one point to tempt Lissa, and in different ways does stuff like that. So yeah, we don't see the actual Beast, but we get to see him kind of talking and reasoning with her and all that cool stuff throughout all the good-looking Dark Fortress and stuff like that. At the end, yes, we get to see, but it's still kind of warped. You know, we don't get a completely unhinged, which is fine. I'm sure it would have looked a little bit worse, you know, if we had just got this complete dead-on shot of the rubber suit dude, you know.
No, I think I actually really like it, and I like it a lot because it is it's a real obvious reasoning behind why they're doing it. Because I mean, you know, number one, they're trying.
So it looks good.
That's right.
It's all right. It's all right.
They're trying to make the Beast bigger than life, and on top of that, you know, it's they probably dumped all their money into other parts of the movie, and they were like, well, we got the front part of the costume. The back, though, is wide open. You could just see the dude's butt hanging out.
No external cables, though.
None at all. And it's a fine little battle. The glaive comes into play again.
The glaive, which actually we don't see for almost the entirety of the movie. And getting the glaive at the beginning of the movie, I never noticed. Not that big of a deal, really. No. He just goes and pulls it out of fire. Yeah. Or lava, pretty much. And then he wears it for the rest of the movie. And then,
and then finally uses it. And it is funny when he uses it too, because again, it is that like it's like he's throwing the frisbee and then he's holding his hand out and then smiling while it just goes like a little saw blade.
Yeah, and eventually it goes into the Beast, and the Beast is toppled. And maybe the scene where he tries to get it back went on a little long. I don't know. He just kind of puts his hand out over and over, like trying to recall it, and it's not coming. And I'm like, dude, it's not.
And yet again, it's the
one more time. No,
you're not a Jedi. All right,
it's not working, dude.
You're not a Jedi. You're not on Hoth. Move on.
Which and I get that. Like, it's a really cool looking thing. I drew many a cool looking sword in my elementary school days. Oh, yeah. I would have wanted that thing back too.
Sure, it's cool. It's got a mind of its
pretty
own.
Broken up about it. I don't know. I guess the point was because then he went up to the Beast to try and retrieve it manually, and we find out the Beast is still alive, and we get that final battle. Final battle. The
final. Yeah. And then he and the remaining survivors and Lissa walk. They literally ride off into the sunset. Basically, it's like they're. That's it. That's the end of the movie. Is okay. We did it. Great.
It's a short little epilogue, and I'm fine with it. Honestly, like it really all comes together, man. Like, yeah, it's a hokey, it's a cult, it's a whatever you want to call it, but I was totally happy that I put in the time to finally watch it.
Yeah. I love it. Like Beth and I we hadn't seen it in forever. It was great to revisit that movie. It's a movie that will get another revisit in the future because it's silly. It's fun. It's easy to digest, and it really is just kind of one of those movies where you kind of sit there going, "Wow, Hollywood, man,
isn't this wild?
Isn't this wild?
Wild enough to get 90 stars is the crazy thing
out of 87."
Wow. Pushed past the barrier once again.
We did it.
And that is Krull, everybody. Next week, we're not doing a movie. We're doing TV volleyball. Am I correct?
TV.
Okay. It's going to be interesting. I know I say this every time we do it, but I feel like I got some left field contenders this time.
Yeah, I got some stuff. I got some TV shows that I'll
looking at it. Do you want to tease anything? You want to tease a single show each? Does that give away too much strategy?
No, sure. I'll give you the one that I'm most interested in sharing with you because I really am looking forward to you eventually. I think you'll watch it and I think you'll really dig it.
Okay.
Show called Mr. In Between.
Oh, You mentioned that a little bit last time, didn't you?
I don't know, but I finished what's available, so
Okay,
I just
right,
want
all right,
to
okay.
finish talking about that.
It'll be a more holistic view of that series. Okay, cool.
Yeah. What about
do
you?
it. Oh, that's true. I said I would do one
You
too.
don't have to do it. You can leave. You could just take advantage of that. Now you've got points.
All right, you've mentioned this one enough. I binged the entire series finally to give back in kind. The Good Place.
Oh man! All right,
Yeah.
Good stuff.
Or did you finish that?
I haven't
finished
We
that.
haven't finished it yet.
Oh, okay. All right.
I'll try and get it finished up this week, though.
Okay. Well, either way, but yeah, we went hard on that one. Cool. TVVB next week. That's TV volleyball for the uninitiated, which we will be, I'm sure. Oh my gosh, the IMDb.
Oh yeah,
stupid trivia of the week. My gosh.
Get me my dumb trivia. I need it.
So I went down the trivia thing, and I don't know if it's because this is one of them cult things, but I was disappointingly not disappointed in any of the trivia. Like, they do a pretty good job of some actual trivia in here. So it was getting to the point where I was like, dang, I might not have anything. And then it sputtered out a few at the very end, like somebody ran out of ideas and just, had to put something in there. We've got a few. Are you ready?
I'm super jacked about it.
Trevor Martin voiced the Beast. He would later star in Beast Cow. Which I know that sounds weird as far as sentences goes.
That's about as tenuous a piece of trivia as I've ever heard.
It's Beast : Cow, I guess, maybe, if that's the I don't know. But he voiced the Beast, and he later there was trivia.
I read before we started that Robbie Coltrane's voice was dubbed.
Yeah, so was Lisette's, actually.
Was it?
Yeah,
that's funny.
Lissa's. Yeah, sorry, whatever, either one.
I mean,
both Lissa and Lisette's voice were dubbed.
Oh, yeah, I didn't know that. That's weird.
Yeah, it was weird, and there were all just weird reasons. Like, Coltrane's was done by another Brit, so I don't even really know. Which I guess he's got a very distinctive voice. If you've ever heard Hagrid talk, sure. I don't know how much of that is his real voice.
That. No, should not have said that.
I don't know how it would have not worked but whatever. Fun.
Maybe his accent was too thick.
Maybe his accent was too thick, too British.
You sound too British, Robbie. Oh, it's because I'm British.
So what can you do about that? Let's do the rest of the show. You got any other movies you want to talk about this week?
Oh boy, do I ever.
Did I catch you off guard?
You may have.
You want to think about yours while I give you a couple?
Well, Joe Bob has been going on, but that's not.
Oh, what's he doing now?
That's
cool.
Yeah, his shows are back. He's got his the season 2 started 2 weeks ago. Season 2, actually, I will mention this. One of my absolute one of these movies that he showed, an absolute banger of a film we are going to do on this show.
Oh, you think so?
I know so. It is going to probably be the movie after TVVB, so I'm not going to talk too much about it, but I think we're going to do Heathers. You definitely have got to get in on this one because it's going to blow your mind.
Wait, he did Heathers?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought he was. Wait, that's not a horror. Yeah. I've never seen Heathers. I'm sorry. It's not really.
No, he doesn't have to do horror movies, but.
Is he? I didn't know he was doing others than.
It is.
Horror
stuff. It's on Shudder, so it's it's still a horror movie.
Heathers is on Shudder.
Mm-hmm. Sure it is.
I just don't think I know as much about Heathers as I even thought I knew.
It is one of the blackest comedies ever, starring Winona Ryder and Christian Slater, so extremely white but very black. It's Shannon Doherty's in it. The movie is a just top tier biting commentary.
I've heard enough about it. Yeah, it's great supposedly. Yeah. So
he did that, which was super fun. He Brain Damage was another one. Love that movie, done by the guy who did Basket Case. And his name is escaping me right now, but both of those movies completely involve really terrific puppetry. And some awful effects. Great movie, love it. Had a great time with it.
Frank Henenlotter?
Henenlotter, that's it, yeah.
He, off the top of my head. Frank
Henenlotter, funny guy. He totally one of those directors that when they filmed movies, he kind of was just all right, well, we're gonna do what we got to do. It's just, I don't care what's on the script. I don't care what money we got. We're making it. And the other one that he did that is an all-timer for me, all-timer. This is top 10 movie of all, like, period. Love it to death. He did Maniac, and that was just wonderful in every respect. Maniac.
You must have mentioned this to me.
It came out in the 80s. Joe Spinell wrote it, and
William Lustig directed it.
Bill Lustig, and if you go and look at Bill Lustig's career, so the movie Maniac has some interesting
don't mind if I
background in terms of he wanted to get the movie made,
if it's any indication, it looks like a remake was done in 2012 starring Elijah Wood.
And it's fantastic, and it's it's I love this because the initial,
so it must be a weird thing is all I'm saying.
It is, it's a little weird. The first movie is definitely, it's about, you know, a guy who lives in an apartment. He collects mannequins, and he goes and murders women and takes off like he scalps them and all this stuff, and he has these mental breaks where he's talking to them and they're talking back to him, the mannequins.
Well, this does sound like a horror movie.
That definitely is. The remake is one of the more unique remakes, and an absolute fantastic remake, because they take the basic concept, they make him Elijah Wood's character ends up selling mannequin parts. Like, he has a little shop that he works at, and the movie is entirely first person from his perspective. You only You only see him a few times, and it's through reflections. Really cool flick. Totally dug it.
Little what's the other one? Hardcore Harry? Is that one?
Hardcore Henry. I still haven't watched that.
Henry, sorry, me neither. But I know it's all in first person, so
yeah. This was definitely less. It's not as kinetic. There's not as much action. It's more of a, you're walking down the streets of New York. You're hunting.
Thoughtful, maybe. Yeah.
Yeah.
The one other movie that might be less thoughtful than anything else anywhere.
And then we rounded everything out with a movie we hadn't watched in so long, and every aspect of it just holds up perfectly. The Three Amigos, man.
Oh, man. I had it queued up for the 5th, and I haven't got to it yet.
That movie just, like, we both were, like, taken aback by how freaking good that movie still is.
Oh, good. Awesome.
Everything about it totally, like, it really, truly does stand the test of time. And I don't think that movie does if it's not put in the time period that they've made it. If they tried, because you forget the movie takes place in the 30s or 40s.
Does it?
Yeah,
because
totally they're silent film stars.
Totally forgot
That's
about
how they
that.
get called down to Mexico to help the village.
That's right.
And it
okay, yeah,
and
I got it.
Every little thing about that movie just screams quality, and it works, and the gags work. It's just maybe a perfect comedy. We actually we did also recently watch what's it called, the Blazing Saddles.
Oh, sure.
That's a discussion. That's definitely
never seen it, so I guess it would be. Yeah, I'm bad. It's one of those huge holes in my library.
So that one, and what were you were going to say something about Three Amigos?
No, I'm just glad to hear that it holds up. Like Martin Short and Steve
Carell. Steve Chase. Steve Munchin.
Come on, Steve Martin. Jeez.
There it is.
Two of the all-time greats. Like Chevy Chase, also I can definitely enjoy, but he's soured on me just because the more stories you hear about him. And I know that's, like, I'm the last guy to not... I can usually separate art from artist somewhat, especially if the guy's just a jerk, but...
Right.
I don't know. Anyways, but yeah, Steve Martin and I forgot the other guy.
And Martin Short.
Martin Short. Good gosh, I said it already. Half of it. They have the same. They share a name. All-time greats. I don't know they've ever done anything that I can't smile or laugh at from time to time.
Oh, it's great. Yeah. I mean, their Netflix stand-up thing was pretty good too.
It's amazing. No,
yeah.
I loved it. I was this freaking close to coming, because I don't know if they did a second tour, or they might be on it now actually. Anyways, I almost went to it.
Yeah.
I think it was in Santa Barbara.
You definitely should.
Yeah.
The other movie we watched though was Beth had tried about a year ago to watch Blazing Saddles, and she actually turned it off because of the socio-political climate that we live in, and how that movie was even at the time was pushing those boundaries with racism and homophobia and all that stuff.
That much I know, yeah.
And she actually couldn't finish it. She was like, it's not good. And I kept looking at it, and I was like, and she told me, she's like, I don't think I'm going to be able to watch that. And I said, why? And we had that conversation. And my reasoning on this one is that, we watched it, and she saw where I was coming from and was like, yeah, okay, you know what? I get it. You're right. This movie is still great. It's the fact that on the outset, that movie comes off as there's lots of racism. The N-word is dropped like freaking 100 times.
Really? Okay.
Because it takes place in the Old West with a black sheriff taking over a town. It doesn't go over so hot, but that's part of the gag. And the thing is, at no point is Mel Brooks supporting racism. He's making fun of the racists. He's making fun of the homophobics. He's not making fun of the black people. He's not making fun of the gay people.
Gotcha.
It's classic Mel Brooks, and it's when you watch it through the lens of, even then, he's taking the piss out of all of this stuff. Every negative thing in that movie, he's taking the piss out of it by having a black sheriff whose best friend is Gene Wilder. And Gene Wilder, who's always given the top billing for the movie, isn't the main character. He's he's in the movie.
He did that a few times. I love Gene Wilder.
Great. He was great.
Yeah.
But that movie, really, it's got the language in it, and the actions that take place. They're perfect because it is Mel Brooks satirizing the absolute lunacy of it all. And I don't know. I would love for you to watch that and not necessarily do a full show on it. We definitely can
do an after the show again. But I was thinking
maybe we do that, because this is one where I think that discussion is definitely less about the story, the plot, all the direction. It's less about that, and it's definitely more, I think, now about what that story is and how it's told, as opposed to the movie itself. Do you know what I mean?
No, I'm ready for some more Mel Brooks, honestly, too. Mel Brooks and Carl Reiner are a couple of characters in Toy Story, and man, it totally got me in the mood. It's good, too. There's, in fact, you're using Disney Plus now.
I am.
There are these Toy Story 4 shorts that you can watch. It's not going to ruin Toy Story 4 for you at all. They're just called Forky Asks a Question, and it's Tony Hale doing his Forky character, which comes in Toy Story 4. But you get some Mel Brooks, you get some Carl Reiner in there. You get, and they're great. They're super good.
Love it.
They're very short, but they're very good. Yeah, no, check them out, definitely. But and I will check out Blazing Saddles.
Do it. That? Yeah, no, I think you should. Other than that, just
okay. I've got a couple.
Yeah, what you got?
And not much on either. Although the second one might result in a conversation. The first one, I had to go back. I was still on a Stan and Ollie kick, and I had to watch some actual Laurel and Hardy films.
Nice.
Yeah. So we watched Way Out West, which is the one that actually shows up the making of in Stan and Ollie a little bit.
Yeah.
And I did this because I wanted to show Stan and Ollie to my wife and daughter, actually, also. So we watched Way Out West, and I got to say, man, still has it. Still absolutely enjoyable.
I should get it.
And it's surprising, too. Some of the comedy that came out of that, I wasn't expecting. I was expecting some of, that era type stuff, and especially after seeing Stan and Ollie, I thought I knew what to expect, but no, man, I laughed out loud several times. Not that I wasn't expecting to laugh out loud, but at some bits that I weren't expecting.
Yeah.
There's lots of physical... Okay, I guess I was expecting physical comedy. There's different types of physical comedy that I wasn't really expecting.
Sure.
It came off really well, man. It's super, super fun.
I love it. I implore you to. I can give you the list of the movies that you should check out. And they're only like an hour. But man, you gotta grab some Marx Brothers and show.
Okay, yeah, I think I downloaded after we talked about them last time too. I think I downloaded.
There's a couple that are real specific. Like the Coconuts is top tier. A Day at the Races is great.
I was just say Day at the Races. I think is the one I got. That's for sure.
One of my favorites is Day at the Races. Coconuts would be Coconuts has my favorite back and forth between Chico and Groucho. And they have every movie. They have back and forth. But the coconuts.
Say again, just the coconuts?
Yeah, it's the coconuts. It's
the coconuts.
It's the coconuts was
the coconuts.
One of their it was an actual vaudeville show that they straight up migrated to film, and it might have been the first one that they migrated to film too.
Love that stuff.
Great movie. What else you got?
In fact,
okay. No.
You're right.
No. We've got plenty of time. Finish what you were going to say, because I love. Give me all this discussion.
Well, it's now not even. Oh, I guess part of why I did this too is I've been trying to help out with the homeschool with my kid a little bit with Evelyn.
Yeah.
And so, of course, I'm choosing the stuff that, like this game was made, like we played through a bunch of Capcom classics, like stand-up arcades, and I teach her about like arcades because she's been to like 2, she doesn't really know.
Yeah.
Then we watched Stan and Ollie, and I teach her about like, vaudeville a little bit and stuff like that. So love it. Love all that stuff.
Yeah. Dig it.
Speaking of vaudeville, speaking more of my daughter, I'm also always on the lookout for horror movies that she can watch, and I'm kind of trying, I'm going by steps here.
Yeah.
And alien stuff just always front of the mind. So I'm like, what alien film can I show her? And actually what I'm on now is I'm editing some movies myself to show her. So I might actually do that with the original Aliens. But one movie
you can't edit the original Alien, dude.
No, just so she can watch it. And eventually she'll watch the...
I don't know. I think you should watch Alien again and before you do that. Because there's not a lot to edit out of that. I mean, more than anything,
actually, no, I'm talking about language. Yeah, and that's the thing, as I feel like language is the only thing I would need to edit out of the original Aliens film, because there isn't.
Probably, it's dull.
Tension.
Yeah, it might be a little dull, but.
And what I mean is editing out the aliens language, like when he screams, I'm like, oh, that's obviously a swear word. I'm just kind of bleeping that.
Yeah.
And that was me. Okay, sorry, I should say the movie we ended up showing her. And this is only going to disappoint now, I feel like, after this, in any conversation sometimes, was Alien versus Predator.
I like that you're like, I want to try and show my daughter horror movies that she can watch, so I'm going to find the most garbage crap I can.
Okay, I figured this would... This is my thing with Alien versus Predator. And yes, I'm talking about, I guess there's been a few. It's not Requiem.
No, Requiem
it's not,
is the worst.
There might be another one. Oh, you don't like Requiem?
Requiem is real bad.
Oh, okay, cool. I remember nothing. Actually, I don't know if I've seen that one. But I'm talking about the 2004 one.
Yeah. It's Lance Henriksen and
yes.
God, I can't remember who else is in it. I just remember he's in it because he's Waylon.
That's about it. Yeah. Not okay. I've never had a ton of problems with this movie. I think it's the weird thing. I've only seen it maybe 3 times. This might have been the 3rd time.
Sure.
And never with much of a critical eye, just kind of a sit down and watch a movie type thing.
Yeah.
So this might have been the first time for any of that, but honestly, I still didn't have any huge problems with it from that point of view. I'm aware, I feel like most of the guff this movie gets is for being PG-13, right? It's an alien movie kind of without all of the...
It's an alien and a predator movie.
And a predator movie without all of the gory aspects of either.
The predators who rip people's heads off and pull their spines out.
Yep. So I'm aware of that. And honestly, that's not defensible. That is true. Like, it is a lesser film in that regard. And
great for kids, though.
Yeah, maybe that's it. Having said that, though, I honestly don't think it's a bad movie, and I think there are a few reasons for that. It becomes a popcorn movie, yes. So it's good in terms of that. I'm not saying this is anywhere near the original Alien.
No. They're not in the same conversation.
Yeah, they're not. It's not in the same ballpark.
it's if you're putting this in any conversation about any Alien movie, maybe you're talking also about Resurrection, but even that I think is better than this.
Yeah, I would agree with that too. Maybe even it shares more DNA with like a Predator film, because those are way more. If you comparing Predator and Alien as films, Predator is definitely more of a
actiony
popcorn thing, I guess, or actiony thing. Yeah, so. Maybe, but still, I get that. But I think as a popcorn film, it's paced pretty well, maybe formulaic at times, but to its strength. Like, it knows what it is and it's being that. And I don't know how much of this is purposeful or how much... There's a line that I have trouble drawing, especially nowadays, because I feel like there's so many... Like, movie making has become so accessible and so cheap that you get a lot of these PG or PG-13 thrillers that don't stand up. Like, I feel like still don't have it. And this is what those movies used to be, movies like this to me. But I watch these and I'm like, man, this is still tight. Like, I feel like somebody somewhere still wanted to make a good film and not just, hey, we can do this for barely any money type thing. And maybe that's Requiem, actually. I don't know. But a few of the things I think set this apart. I think Antarctica was a pretty great choice. And I know The Thing is also an infinitely better film, but I like the setting. I think it goes a long way. I do think Henriksen is pretty great. And I know they're playing with archetypes mostly throughout this entire film, but I think they're executed pretty well. And the main girl, which, yeah, I should totally know her name at the very least, right? I think she does a good job. She carries the film. I'll put it that way.
I'll tell you that the big issue I have with the movie, it's that movie lives in the same world to me as Resident Evil. You have a perfectly great, super simple plot, and you've screwed it up by changing it. Like, there's no reason to do anything they did with that movie at all. It was all...
You're talking about the first Resident Evil?
I mean, I'm talking about the Resident Evil movies in general, because none of them are... But yeah, the first movie. Like, and the first movie blows my mind because they're 50-50. You're halfway there. You got the game going because you're in a mansion. Okay, there's the underground to the mansion. That's fine. And then you just, like, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and throw a diaper on this and make the dumbest movie in history. Is the movie awful? Yeah. Is it watchable? Yeah. AVP is the same thing, though. Like, you have this awesome, simple, really, really easy, already built out story. Adapt it. No, what are we going to do? We got to go call Wayland back from, 19 whatever, and we got to go to Antarctica. What? Go to the freaking the planet from Aliens, LV-205 or whatever the hell it's called. Have the Predators landed there while they were colonizing. Great. Done. I've just written a better movie. Like, I just did it. I just wrote a better movie.
I don't know if you're doing this on purpose, but I have also defended Resident Evil, the first Resident Evil film, and that one I knew was by Paul W.S. Anderson.
The biggest hack in Hollywood, yeah.
Yes, like, I can't disagree with you.
That guy is the biggest garbage director, writer in Hollywood. I hate him so much.
But Mortal Kombat and Resident Evil 1, in that order, I've defended as watchable. And I had no idea he did AVP also. I had no idea he did this until the end. And it flashed his name. I'm like, oh, crap.
Yeah.
I felt tricked. I was like, there's a third one of his that I like? Like, this is...
but that's what he does. He gets into your brain and he does something. It's like Kentucky Fried Chicken, He's
the cinematic or the directorial equivalent of a facehugger?
Exactly. God, it just won't go away. He sucks the life out of you, and then you just succumb and go fine. No, that guy is man. I just don't get it. I don't know how you
I need to say all of the other Resident Evil movies are complete stupid garbage. Like, I will not defend them in any way. The first one, I don't know why I can or do sometimes, but enjoy it. And yes, everything else I don't believe is watchable from that man. Yeah, sorry to bring him up.
Yeah, but my day is ruined now.
My daughter dug the film, though, I'll say at least. And one of the best quotes from her was when she turned to my wife after the Predator was seen in his full glory and said, "I like his hair."
Yeah, she does. All right, so I got a couple of movies.
Spark something?
I got a couple of suggestions for you, though, because you're talking horror movies.
Yeah, bring it on.
So, she's seen Shazam, right?
Oh, obviously, yeah.
Did you get
many times?
Did you guys
Family
see?
Favorite.
Did you see Lights Out?
Lights
Out is the movie David Sandberg did before. It's the movie that got him Shazam. Little horror flick, tiny horror film, really small.
All right. Yeah, I'm into this. This looks all right. Okay, Lights Out.
Maria Bello's in it. Yeah, Maria Bello's in it. She's always good. Yeah, Lights Out, super solid.
Yeah, I'll open this up to the crowd. If anybody's got good kid horror movie suggestions, bring it on.
Happy Death Day might work.
Oh, that sounds familiar. Was that the Netflix?
It's not.
No, okay.
It is a movie that exists, though.
All right.
If you want to get a little deeper with a little more like a little more of a scary.
Next step. Yeah, no, this is all in steps. So
try out Insidious. That's in the Conjuring universe, but it is not The Conjuring.
I do have that queued up as well too. I think that's going to make it into Octoberween this year.
It should.
Okay.
Kids might like that too. It's got good scares to it.
The Conjuring?
Yeah.
I feel like
I don't remember what else is. I don't remember what else is in it, but that's a good one. But Insidious kind of follows the same thing. It's more James Wan related stuff, and it's got Patrick Wilson in it, who I always like Patty Wills.
Yep. He's the bad guy or the good guy or both.
You never know. So he plays the roles so deeply. You've mentioned The Others, so I assume you guys have seen that.
Yeah, I watched that recently, actually.
Drag Me to Hell. That one.
Oh, yeah, the Raimi one. I actually like that one. That one got some heat. I know the ending isn't everybody's favorite.
Kids might like it.
In fact, I really want to see the alligator one he just produced. I don't think he directed it.
No, he didn't. But I know what you're talking about. Krull.
Yeah.
I think it's Krull.
Yes, I think that is it.
It's
on
my.
Looked like a decent,
I've got
kind of wacky thriller type thing.
I got that queued up.
All right.
So Drag Me to Hell, if you haven't seen it, that's a good one.
I feel like we're inadvertently starting the solo bolo again here, but that's fine. This is, again, to remind everybody, give us a starting point. We'll do an entire episode like this where one movie leads to another. We haven't got the starting point yet.
1408, also a really, really solid little scary horror movie. It's got John Cusack and Sam Jackson.
Yeah, okay.
Yep. Stephen King book.
I remember, I've only seen that once, and I remember not liking it.
So. Oh, really? Interesting.
Not for any reason. It was probably before film school or right in the middle of it, actually.
That one has some interesting history to the ending of it.
Oh, because it's a Stephen King thing, right?
I mean the movie itself, the actual, not the story, but the movie.
Yeah, but that every Stephen King movie seems to have some weird thing about the ending.
Yes, that's fair.
He wrote it, or he didn't, or he liked it, but he didn't, or he won't. I don't know, whatever.
Everybody deserves a little bit of love.
Is that how that movie ends?
Yes. Liam Neeson, what's her name? Lily Taylor, Owen Wilson, and Michael Douglas's wife. What's her name? Catherine Zeta-Jones. The Haunting. Great remake.
Oh, yeah. I do actually keep hearing about that as well.
Solid remake. Really enjoy it. Fun. Cloverfield's always good. That's a novel movie.
Yeah, I figured that will. I mean, I've showed her a lot of kaiju stuff so far, actually.
Yeah, she probably digs that then, yeah. But yeah, I would say check out Happy Death Day. 1408 is good, I think, anyways. Insidious, I think, is probably one that'll really, really hit well for you.
All right. We got a nice long list here. In fact, we'll keep some of those in mind for Octoberween, I think, this time around.
Oh, I think I've got some plans for Octoberween this year, actually.
Oh, okay.
So we'll see.
What is it? It could be October already for all I know. And
anything else?
No, I think that's it.
All right. Well, next week we'll do TVVB. If you guys have TV things that you want us to talk about or shows that you're interested in letting us know about, podcast at bookclubformovies.com. You could do that.
Correct. That's the email.
Or
we're also on Facebook and Twitter.
Yeah. You could send us movie things. You can send us whatever. Send us, pictures of your dogs. Send us pictures of your COVID.
Yes. If you have COVID-19, send us pictures.
We want to see.
Love to see it.
So we'll see you next week, I guess.
Okay. See you next week. Thanks, everybody. Bye.